what it meant to be Black male, the police in Black communities, all of that in the media. And there were, welcome to my channel. For those who've been following me these few episodes, thank you for continuing on this journey with me. For those who are new, I just wanted to introduce myself. I am Sharon Simone, and I am the author of Yielding. And I just wanted to answer a question that a viewer had asked me, and that is, what's up with my name? So when I finished writing this book and I was doing the dedication page, I decided I wanted it to honor my mother. So I dedicated it to her, and she happened to name me Simone. So I thought how cool it would be as a newly minted fiction writer to use Simone as my pen name. So that's what I did. So before I begin, also, I'll be reading from page 30 to 32, which is a really important chapter in the book because it's the only chapter that was written from Q's perspective. So for those who have not read the book, Q is Viv's partner, and he has just realized that she's missing and he doesn't quite know what to do. So he drops off their daughter and he heads off to see if he can find her. So I'm going to pick up there at page 30, and it reads this way. Q watches her back as she fiddles her key in the lock. Once inside, he gives her a quick wave before turning his head to back out of the driveway. I called everyone I could think of and nothing. No one has heard from her all day. I called Memorial, Pacific General, and no Vivian Moji was admitted. What the hell is going on? Where the hell is she? Q's temples bulge as his jaw becomes more and more rigid. His grip on the steering wheel tightens as he weaves his way to 57 Division. Drawing closer to the building, he becomes aware of himself. I can't roll up all angry black man. Keep it together. I can't believe I'm even here. Eyeing a space close to the entrance, he swings the car between the lines and pushes the door open. Hi, can I help you? The officer continues to stare into his screen. I don't know, can you? Q carefully chooses his words as he notes the number 3050 stitched on the officer's shoulder. I'm not sure if this is where I should be, but I ran out of ideas. Q leans his elbow on the counter. The officer instinctively leans back in his chair behind the desk. Officer 3050's jaw visibly twitches. It's my wife. I saw her this morning. She went to work and then disappeared. I've checked the school where she works. I called all her friends, family. I've tried her on her cell. Nothing. I was thinking there may have been an accident in the city or something. If you could give me some advice on how to find her, I'd appreciate it. Her name is Vivian Moji. The officer nods sharply and starts clicking on the computer. You said that the last time you saw her was this morning? Vivian. And how is her last name spelt? He asked flatly. Moji. Date of birth? Q rhymes it off. Your name, date of birth, and address? Feeling interrogated, Q reaches into his wallet and hands 3050 his driver's license to clear himself. The officer leans the card against the screen as he continues to type. With a final tap on the return key, the officer leans back slightly as his eyes dart back and forth across the screen. Do you see anything about my wife? Q finally asks after a prolonged silence. I'm sorry, sir, but due to privacy legislations, I am not at liberty to tell you what you may or may not have in our records related to your wife, the officer answers mechanically. but she's my wife. Officer 3050 stands and crosses his arms. Q places his hands on the counter. She is an adult, sir. I can't tell you if there are any prior records concerning your wife. Q takes a deep inhale. Let's try this again. What can you tell me? When was the last time you saw her again? This morning around 6:30. She was getting ready for work. How was her mood this morning? How was her state of mind this week? How do I answer that? If I say she was overworked, forgetful, and tired, how would that be interpreted? Depressed, suicidal? I don't know. Normal, nothing out of the ordinary. Did she leave any notes? Now you're just pissing me off. No notes. You mentioned you tried contacting her on her phone. Yes, but she wasn't answering, so her phone was not left in the house. Yes, the phone was not left in the house. The officer continues to nod as if mulling over what Q just said. Why is he asking me all these questions and not writing anything down? What's that nod mean? All right, I think I have enough information to relay to dispatch. Please go home and an officer will meet you there. Officer 3050 slaps Q's driver's license on the counter, signaling his dismissal. Q stares at 3050 incredulously. I don't want the cops near my house. I have kids. I don't want them to worry. I'd rather stay and wait. Irritated, 3050 sits. Fine. Once I give them the information for the missing persons report, I'll ask an officer to come to the station and talk to you instead. Please take a seat to the left. The officer resumes typing and staring expressionlessly at the screen. Q's mind shuts down as he looks around the barren reception area. Shaking his head, he turns and walks away. So, you get a sense of the interaction between Q and the officer. So, when I was writing this chapter, it was after George Floyd's murder. And at the time, there was a lot of news coverage and propaganda, I'm going to call it, around what it meant to be black male, the police in black communities, all of that in the media. And there were protests and articles, and there was this big push about, Black Lives Matter. When I was writing this chapter, I decided to have a conversation with my cousin, who happened to be a police officer. And I wanted it to be not only from Q's perspective as a black man, but also what the reality would be for someone who is putting in a missing persons report. So I went over the chapter with her, and we had a really good conversation about what could happen and what would be realistic for someone coming into the station. And that's what I wrote. And I had her review. And I wanted it to be really clear that Q wanted to do everything in his power to make sure that he could find his wife safely, and how he had to code switch and also hold back so that he would be heard and seen in this space, and how difficult that was. So, given that context, I wanted to leave these reflection questions with you. When have you ever found yourself in a space where you did not feel psychologically safe? If you need to pause the video at this time so that you can jot down some thoughts, I encourage you to do that. The second question I have for you is, how did you make sure that you were safe when you felt in a situation or a circumstance where you didn't have as much power or control over the situation? What did you do to take care of yourself? I know for me, the way that Q felt is not unlike how I've also felt. And many of us of color, Black women, Black men, um, find ourselves having to code switch or represent ourselves in a way where we have to kind of not emote or show our emotions in that situation. So the way Q is handling himself in this situation is very, I would say, common. So I wanted to leave you with this. Whatever space you find yourself in, always know that you are worthy, you are well, regardless of how others may see you or respond to you. I want to leave with you that you are worthy and well. And this week, I want to ask you to jot down where you have been able to take back some of your power, whether that's in relationships, whether that's at work. I want you to reflect and recognize a time this week where you've taken back your power. So, again, if you haven't already, I really encourage you to like and subscribe this video, this channel. And for those who don't know, I am also a leadership coach for women and marginalized leaders who are in transition. Everything that I do, including this book, relates to people in transition. So this is something that I do as a professional. So if this is something that interests you, I really encourage you to take a look at my website, which is www.sharonkamasa.com, and see if there's anything that resonates with you, and if there's a way that I can support you in your transition. I am absolutely open. So until next time, I wish you well.